All right. Looks like we're live. Looks like we're back. Morse Code Podcast, episode 110, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. How's it going, buddy? How was your weekend?
It's a good weekend.
Good.
Needed weekend.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Everybody's working for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So they say. Here we are. So I guess we get right into it. So I guess we'll start here. I definitely don't want to talk about the Celtics at all today. We are recording this on a Sunday night. So the regular season did come to an end today. I found it very fitting. They finished exactly 500.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. It's exactly how it sounds. Exactly how it was. I don't love the fact that the playing game's at 9 p.m. So that could be a late night.
500 wins? Oh, I'm sorry.
They had 500 wins and 500 losses.
Yeah, it
in a
makes sense.
very short period of time, considering how many total games that is. Unless I'm reading the stat wrong. I don't know.
No, we heard plenty about the schedule being pretty compact, so that makes sense.
Yeah, those 20 game evenings were a lot on someone one of the heavier guys like Grant Williams' knees. Makes a lot of those sloppy turnovers make a lot more sense now with that kind of workload.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? So you brought up a good old fashioned discussion. I don't even know if it was a debate that we used to have, but maybe I'll let you kind of set the scene before we get into it. So this was something we used to talk back, I assume in college, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was basically Blake Griffin versus Kevin Love. And do you remember how that came about?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Set the stage.
So I remember just being at your house senior year, and we were trying to figure out if we were going to play 2K or whatever on a Friday night. And then I remember we scrolled across the TV guide and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And you were like, what? And it was it was Blazers versus Clippers we're going to be on. And this is
nice.
in the beginning of Lob City. And I was like, yeah, Blazers Clippers. I'm pumped to watch that. And you were like, who the fuck is who cares about that game? And I was like, well, Blake Griffin's going to be playing. So I'll definitely watch. And then that started this whole debate of basically me taking Blake Griffin's side, you taking just because he was the other power forward who was young and good at the time, Kevin Love. And then that's just how the argument started.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's necessarily an argument. Just
no, I think it's
just
also,
sides.
Yeah, but I think it is a really good comparison. Like you said, same position, similar play style. I guess. I don't know. But I'm just going through it right now.
Good foresight on our part to basically lay the groundwork for that 10 years in the making, knowing that we would need it for an episode.
I know, right? I was actually pretty surprised looking at some numbers here between the two, because I guess to recap, and I don't know, I guess maybe my opinion's changed in the last 10 years. Definitely at the time, I didn't even think it was close. So let's call it 2012, just to be conservative. So that was second year of Blake Griffin and probably the third or fourth year of Kevin Love, because I know he's a couple years earlier than Blake. So yeah, 2012 was the fourth year of Kevin Love. Kevin Love had 2 All-Star games. That was when he was still buried in Minnesota. Those teams stunk. And I think that's why, maybe to your point, it's I'll definitely not argue who was more exciting player to watch. Definitely won't argue who was the more exciting player to watch on a more exciting team. Because maybe, let me see. The other thing I was surprised, looking at the numbers, it should be Blake Griffin. Pretty comfortably. The only real stat, and I guess this goes back to my argument back in the day, the only real stat that stands out pro Kevin Love is definitely rebounds. And I remember, dude, he was Kevin Love was putting up crazy numbers. And again, no one would watch the game, but that's when you just see it the next day, casual 20 and 20s.
Yeah.
like a handful of times a week. His points per game, damn,
I
really
think
don't
just taking a
top
hit from
out.
the last couple of years. Plus, like once he came to
Yeah,
Cleveland, he was like very clear. Obviously, he's clearly the third guy, but like
yeah.
the third guy by quite a margin.
No, I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say when you look at, I don't like looking at career numbers for these guys because any player with a long history, the last 2 or 3 years is just going to water down their career numbers.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Love's career, 12.7 boards a game. But there's seasons when he was 26 and 13, 20 and 15. So let's stick around 2011, 2012.
Well, I was gonna say, just real quick,
Yeah.
I I assume that statement is true because otherwise, what explains, like calling back to the last episode, how
Mhm.
Robert Ory ended up with 7 points a game? Like he
Right.
must have had some really really low seasons because
No, and again, we stand corrected. He actually apparently is a Hall of Famer, according to Rudy Tomjanovich. So yeah, if he averaged, I guess, 7 in his career, he must have had a handful. And knowing as a Hall of Famer, he must have had at least 5 to 7 25 plus points per game seasons. So
it
those
takes
last
one
few
to know one.
years, yeah, when he averaged 0.003 points a game for 5 years, really must have brought down the total.
Crazy.
But before I forget, dude, this shocked me. So I did find that one website we can reference later. It's a pretty dope website. I don't even know if, I guess you can just go in and type in 2 players. And I think you can do this on NBA, on Basketball Reference too, but this one made it much cleaner. Just like compare 2 players on major categories and stuff.
Yeah.
Without like thinking, like when you think Blake Griffin's highest point total in his career, did that year with the Pistons, was that the one that really jumped out to you? 2018, 2019, if you had to guess?
I can't say it did. No.
That's mind blowing. He averaged, I know he was an all-star that year. And I will say this, like I know, I'm not going to say I watched a lot of Blake Griffin in Detroit that year, but I do know just from like following basketball, he had a better year than people remember.
Yeah.
And I'll give him, I think that's the year he got into the playoffs too. He averaged like 24 and a half points that year per game, which is great. That's his highest career points per game. Higher than all the Lob City years. Even exceeds his Brooklyn tenure.
Oh, that may be the most impressive part.
A cool 10.0 points a game in Brooklyn.
Well,
1.1 offensive rebound a game. Yeah. What?
Well, I was thinking this earlier when I was looking at some numbers that looking at NBA offense is like looking at fucking the US dollar inflation from 100 years ago to now.
It's not even close.
It's ridiculous because I happened to be watching an Iverson highlight, and one of the years that he led the league in scoring was with 26 a game, which I was like, damn, a guy his
like
size put up 26 a game.
Yeah,
but then now 26 a game is like, I mean, I love Jaylen Brown. He averaged 25. He doesn't have the offensive acumen of Allen Iverson. So like 26 back then was like fucking 48 now.
A fringe all-star now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Intriguing observation. The other weird thing about that same argument though is there should be an asterisk, like unless you're one of like just those freak players from like the 60s, like Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, who would literally just take all the stats. Mm-hmm. Like they would average all the points like every game. Because if you look at those box scores, like, I don't know, if a team scores 100 points and Wilt has 60, you got to divide the remaining 40 by like another 9 guys. So I'm curious, like, what those standings look like. They must have literally been like a 25-point differential between first and second place on like the season leading scores. But no, the other standout. So that was crazy to me. And then, like I said, I mean, even back in when we were having this argument, based on what I saw, I just thought Kevin Love was the better player. I think and again, it was all stat driven because Minnesota wasn't sniffing the playoffs any of those years, I don't think. The other thing I found surprising, he only had 3 All-Star games while he was in Minnesota. He was there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So even putting up those numbers, which were respectable the lowest rebounds he had was 12 and a half. between 2011 and 2015 when he got traded. He dropped down to 16 points a game at his lowest there. And I'm pretty sure Blake made all-star games all those years. Yep, he did. So I don't know. Maybe, and I'm curious what the consensus is. I guess maybe at the time Blake probably was seen as a better player just because he had so much more visibility. I think that was, when was the All-Star, when was the slam dunk contest too? Was that around this time?
Yeah, that was either 2011 or 2012.
Okay. Damn, Blake's rookie year too. Excuse me, his
Ben Simmons,
his red shirt rookie year. Yeah. 22 and a half points per game, 12.1 rebounds, 4 assists. Not bad. I don't think he really eclipsed that total at all. No, it was all downhill from there. Very injury ridden. And then the other thing I just remember about Kevin Love also was just like the ridiculous like outlet passes too. A very weird, I guess, like niche skill to have. But I remember watching like YouTube compilations of him literally just an everyday rebound and then just like an Aaron Rodgers, like Hail Mary to, I don't know, Johnny Flynn or like whoever else was like on the other end of those receiving. Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to look up, those Minnesota rosters, just for a comparison. So let's look up Minnesota 2011. Respectable 17-65 finish. Let's see.
All right, just outside of the playoff race.
Oh, boy. Oh, Johnny Flynn was on that team. I'm trying to see who the second best player on this team was.
I'm not sure there was one, but
maybe Luke Ridnour. Maybe Corey Brewer. I guess Michael Beasley. Darko is on this team.
I'm looking too.
Good grief.
I'm in the 2012-2013 season, and
oh, you're a little ahead of me. So let's see. Terrible that year. Let's go 2011. 26 wins that year, so they're improving. He's making the players around him better. That season, he did have Brad Miller. He had Anthony Randolph, not to be confused with Zach Randolph. He did have Anthony Tolliver. Derek Williams, rookie Derek Williams. We all know that was a great pick.
Ooh.
Wesley Johnson, Wayne Ellington. I don't even know who you want to like even consider as the second best player on that team. So I think that's the argument I'm trying to make. The talent, you could argue Blake had a little more talent around him. So I guess counter argument is Kevin Love, I guess, had more opportunity to pad his stats like that. But before we get too much into it from like a technical standpoint, because I'd rather just talk about it. What was I going to say? The thing I saw floating around, though, the question was like, I think at the time, obviously, we're talking about who's the better player. I think now, though, after all that's happened in the last 10 years, it's a better question of like, whose career would you rather have? Because I think that's a pretty equal. Honestly, I think it probably leans more towards Kevin Love, but whose career would you rather have? For a lot of different reasons. Like, I think Blake's going to have him in most statistical categories. I think most people would say, like, in a vacuum, Blake Griffin's a better basketball player, which I think I would agree with. But Kevin Love has rings. He's played with LeBron James. The only thing that I also consider when I consider the question of whose career would you rather have, I see it like put me in their position. Like, who would I rather be?
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference between playing in Los Angeles and Minnesota/Cleveland for your entire life.
Yeah.
So I might lean Blake in that regards. And then Brooklyn, which I'm sure is a cool place to play, especially now when you have no pressure to perform or people don't even give a shit. Like, you could have a garbage time dunk, and that's going to lead to Twitter reacting with different, Blake Griffin fooled us tweets and things of that nature for a couple hours. But I don't know. I know you dug up some dirt on these two as well. So walk us through where your head was at the time and how you're feeling now. I guess to wrap mine up, I'll definitely say real quick. At the time, I was definitely pro Kevin Love. I think just based on stats, and I still think they're comparable at the time. Looking over the last 10 years, I don't know. Blake's injuries kind of hurt too. And I know Kevin Love had some injury problems too, but I think there's something to playing in the finals, playing in 4 or 5 finals in a row, winning. I guess he just won one of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. One more than Blake. So
he did shut down Steph on that last play. He locked him up.
He did.
In that 3-1 series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a very memorable play in that series. Kyrie had a very memorable shot in that series. And LeBron had the block. So very memorable series for all three of them.
I'm looking up their career earnings too.
Oh, that's a good one too. I didn't really think about that. Oh yeah, what about I feel like Blake Griffin must have more endorsements too, at least national endorsements.
Yeah, I think so.
Do either of them have a signature sneaker?
Blake is signed to the Jordan brand, and I think Kevin Love has bounced around from like a couple different brands. Okay. All right, Kevin Love in his just from his NBA salary, he's made $265 million. Blake's made $230. But also Kevin Love's been in the league a couple years longer.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm. So if all other things being equal, like they'll probably retire with the similar amount of money.
Well, I think college, like if you look back to college too, they're both one and dones, right? I know Blake was.
Blake definitely.
Kevin Love might have been.
Let's see.
I remember the year Kevin Love and Westbrook went to the Final Four, didn't they? 1 year at UCLA. Or I think
they got pretty far. Yeah,
they went farther than I think Oklahoma ever did. Blake was.
Yep, so he was one and done too.
Okay, he was a very exciting college basketball player. I really don't remember Kevin Love too much in college, outside of that tournament.
No.
Do you remember going back to those Cleveland championships for a minute? Remember like the post? I know we've talked about this before, but all the different things that happened after each tournament, after each series, like the Halloween party. Was it the Warriors dressing up as the Cavs or vice versa? Or dressing up as like the Undertaker or something?
Oh,
and had like the RIP, like the gravestones of like the other team.
Yeah.
I think it was the Warriors beating the Cavs who did that.
Was it?
I think so. Because they had that. LeBron had the Ultimate Warrior shirt.
Yep.
Draymond had the Quickie shirt.
Yep.
Was that the other one? Yeah, while you do your thing with Kevin Love, I'm gonna pull up that Halloween thing, so I'm curious. Cavs Warriors Halloween party. You see Steph today? My goodness.
He's pretty good at basketball.
Don't tell Leahy that. He thinks he's overrated and doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Whatever that ridiculous thing he said. Here we go. Even the Cavs Halloween party decorations want to remind the Warriors they blew a 3-1 lead. Oh, this is almost worse than I thought. I thought it was much more subtle than this. This, they literally just have, while you walk into the party, a thing that just is a tombstone that says 3-1 lead. Yikes.
That's a nice decoration.
This is from DJ Steph Floss. They real petty at King James Halloween costume party.
Oh, that's the Cavalier. Well, this is something that doesn't exist in Boston, but that's the Cavaliers Quicken Loans in-home DJ.
Yeah. Cavaliers have absolutely no chill when it comes to the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. In fact, they're doing their best to remind Golden State of what happened at every single juncture. Oh, damn. Hold on. Yeah, here's the ones I was thinking of. It's like little like cookies or something. This is pretty bad. Just like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, 2015 to 2016 tombstones. Gee whiz. Yikes. Hey.
Celebrate it.
Yeah. All right. So career earnings, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I can't imagine Kevin Love making much money off the court in Minnesota.
No. I don't
think like he had big jersey sale numbers. I wouldn't think.
No, I'll kind of touch on like the stuff that contributes to his like more of his personality and shit.
Sure. Go ahead.
So yeah, I came up with a list of these are mostly off the court things, but
Okay.
This is the tale of the tape between Kevin
Yeah.
Love and Blake Griffin. So,
Okay.
yeah, just do one for Kevin, one for Blake.
That'd be great.
Keep it going that way. All right. So Kevin Love, 30-30 games, as you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
That was not a thing.
Certainly
and
not.
Still is not a thing.
30-30?
Yeah. He had a couple of them.
In his career?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
He had
wild.
a couple of them on the T-Wolves. And yeah, I just remember, like you said, never watched a single fucking game of his. But,
no, but you'd see like 40 and 24.
Yeah.
It'd be 40 points, 24 rebounds, like Blazers 111, Wolves 93. Like that's like how it would go somehow.
Must be like one of the greatest fundamental rebounders of all time. Because it's not like you're just like rebounders aren't necessarily padding their stats if they're just really good rebounders. But yeah,
I also remember like real quick back when they used, again, I don't really watch SportsCenter anymore. It's kind of like all over the place. But remember they used to, before it was live, they would air the same SportsCenter from what, like 5 a.m. to like noon pretty much. And they would just do highlights in order. It'd usually go from like the most high priority game to the least priority game, but they would at least touch on every game. And the Wolves were literally like towards like the last 2 or 3 games, like of every episode, right before top 10 plays, you get like the worst of the worst games. And yeah, you'd see like ridiculous numbers.
Yeah. Even if there was like what was the old show? I think it used to be called NBA Tonight. I assumed that like,
oh yes,
half the time shows. They wouldn't even show the highlights. They just show the box score really quick as like the credits were rolling.
NBA Tonight.
All right. So he had the 30-30 games. Blake Griffin had a brother that played with him at Oklahoma that wasn't as good. I don't remember what the fuck his name was, but he looked a lot like him, but he was
Peter
not
Griffin? Archie Griffin?
Yeah. Kevin Love throws great outlet passes, as you said.
Sure does.
Blake Griffin has been mistaken for Chris Humphries.
More than one occasion.
Which is not a good thing. I don't think it's fair to either one of those guys.
No, I've actually never heard that, but it is pretty funny now that I think about it. We don't have time to do this, but if we threw Chris Humphries in the mix too, that's like another hour of on-court debate.
He was the third guy that we didn't mention in this.
Correct. Yeah. He's the third one. Do you think they look alike?
There was a time where when Blake like let his hair out.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see Chris Humphries like a poor man's Blake Griffin. Chris Humphries, Kardashian. Honest to God, you want to talk about like best careers out of those three? I don't know. Humphries is in the mix for a very, very. If we want to talk peak for peak, Chris Humphries' peak off the court might contend with those two.
Oh yeah,
15-year careers. But anyway, go ahead.
Great segue. My next point: Blake Griffin has dated Kendall Jenner.
When?
A couple years ago.
Oh, pretty recently.
So he's dated Kendall Jenner. On the flip side, Kevin Love has had quite the glow up because he went from being basically like pudgy and like buzz cut to trim and handsome,
nice hair,
dapper.
Yeah, he's good
on the cover.
Guy, definitely.
He's been on the cover of GQ magazine, which if you had said back in 2011, no one would have believed you.
Afraid not. Yeah, I agree. And I think that was part of the allure to Kevin Love too. It's like this guy doesn't look like someone who is like putting up Wilt Chamberlain type numbers like on like a Tuesday night in Minnesota. But anyway,
Kevin Love gets to quit mid-game with no repercussions. If you've seen a couple of his highlights recently.
Yeah, not a bad benefit. Against the Celtics, wasn't it? Or no, it wasn't against the Celtics. He actually had a great game against the Celtics. It was, I know exactly what you're talking about. Great play. All-time play.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen this, I'm playing it right now so that I can sort of narrate it. They're playing it's Raptors Cavs, so I assume ratings were through the fucking roof for this game.
I hope so.
Raptors are in the third quarter. A layup goes through for the Raptors. Kevin Love gets kind of shoved by someone who was about to go for the rebound. And it was nothing. It was something that you'd see on every play. And he gets so pissed that The ball had bounced to the ref. Ref was going to throw it to Kevin Love so that he could inbound it.
Mhm.
And he just slaps it away. He slaps it away, slaps it inbounds to the Raptors, and they hit like a wide open 3 off the play. And when he slapped it away, he also just like kind of
like
walked
turned
towards the
around,
bench, like sulked away. Didn't play any
Yeah.
defense on the play.
We didn't get into their defense yet, but yeah, that's definitely not on the pro Kevin Love side. That particular play.
Hilarious.
I'd be
play.
kind
I
of
wouldn't
pissed
put it
too.
away.
He's kind of like the Chris Bosh of like the Miami Heat dynasty. It's like it's very exciting to bring, I'm gonna play with LeBron, Kyrie, and myself. We're gonna win a bunch of championships. And then once the other guys leave, it's like, all right, shit. Now I'm just kind of stuck here in Cleveland by myself. This isn't quite as fun as it used to be. And now it's like, honestly, I think he should just retire. Like, I don't know. It's like at this point, like, I don't think he's going to be a sought after free agent. Maybe he will, but he's definitely on the back 9. I would just call it. Take my ring, go home.
He just got such a good contract. I don't know how many years are left, but he signed a huge deal. Like right when he knew, I'm sure he knew that LeBron was going to be leaving Cleveland. They gave Kevin Love a huge deal.
Whatever.
Another point for Kevin Love. His uncle is one of the Beach Boys. Very cool.
That was pretty cool.
Surfing USA.
Great song.
Blake Griffin once jumped over a Kia.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
I don't think Kevin Love's ever done that.
I don't think Kevin Love's ever driven a Kia or a car of that class. Okay.
Footage to the contrary.
Okay. Never mind. I'll admit my mistakes.
Kevin Love.
So stupid. Yeah, I think we watched that dunk contest together. I think that was senior year at my house.
Yeah, that wasn't impressive at all.
That was very odd.
Jumped over the hood of it.
Yeah, like the smallest part of it. And then I saw like maybe a year after Nate Robinson. Didn't he just jump over like Dwight Howard instead?
Yeah.
I think that's much more of a, I don't know, bigger challenge.
Kevin Love once had his shoulder broken by Kelly Olynyk. Not a great look.
Tough look. Yeah.
Dislocated by you already think that you're kind of an awkward white guy, and then you get injured by the most awkward white guy.
More awkward. Oh yeah, far more awkward white guy. Is Kelly Olynyk? I know he's white. Is he like? Is he from overseas or is he American? Canadian. That makes sense. Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Blake Griffin. You want to give Kevin Love shit for being injured by Kelly Olynyk. Blake Griffin scared of being injured by Chris Paul.
Terrified of Chris Paul.
They once called the police presence.
That led to one of the greatest moments in sports history. So that's definitely on Blake Griffin's side.
Anyone who listens to our show and doesn't listen to Tyler, just look up Inside the NBA, where they had a clip where it was the first time that Chris Paul came back to play against the Clippers. And apparently there was such a scuffle after the game that like the two locker rooms had to be separated. And I think it was Roz Gold on Whoadie was reporting and was like, they had to call in a police presence to make sure that nothing crazy happened, because Chris Paul was threatening to like get into the Clippers locker room, and Shaq and Charles Barkley just went off for like
called LAPD. Chris Paul's trying to beat us up. So good because it's just like the guy who was hosting it couldn't even get like his final sentence out. He's just like, you just hear like Shaq or Chuck like in the background, like, Chuck, they call LAPD. They need a police presence. Yeah, I don't know. Not a great look either way.
Last thing I had for each of them was Kevin Love gets the awkward white guy treatment. Whenever there were memes of the Cavs, he'd always it reminded me of Zach Wilson.
Yep.
It was just like LeBron, Kyrie, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, a bunch of like very cool people, and then Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, the ultimate finesse, as you said earlier, where he went from being a star with the Clippers to no one gave a shit that he went to Detroit. And I'm sure he didn't give a shit either. Like he put up the stats, but
I was going to say, that's the thing. He had a great year in Detroit.
He did. What a
it.
terrible place to play. As far as like, Kevin Love played in Cleveland and Minnesota. Detroit's got to be another hellhole to be in.
Big time.
But yeah, then all of a sudden Blake Griffin is just dunking and has like a 44-inch vertical again.
Yeah.
Although, he's definitely.
What kind of minutes is he getting in Brooklyn?
Can't be many if he's averaging 10 points a game.
Yeah, true.
I don't think he particularly cares.
Yeah, right. Let me see.
I understand that like someone wants to win the title and
21 minutes
a game
in
their career where like you don't care about the individual stats anymore as long as you win and get to have fun. Because I'm sure he's like, friendly with their big three. All that being said, winning the title as like the fourth or fifth guy when you used to be the star, I don't get how someone like mentally accepts that.
Yeah, I know. I think I see it from. I'm sure it's fine. Like I think Blake's scenario is fine because, like you said, he's probably just happy to get out of Detroit, like geographically, and B, it's probably it's fun to be on a contending team again. And again, it's like even if he's half his career production, that's still a very solid bench player. Someone with some experience. I'd take him as a bench player on the Celtics any day. He would have started today. He probably would have dropped 40 points today with like who we had to roll out there. But it's actually, it makes me think like in hindsight, would you rather say Kevin Love won like 2 or 3 championships instead of one? Say he won one in Minnesota somehow and won 2 in Cleveland. Would you rather be like spend 15 years of your life playing and living in Minnesota and Cleveland, winning championships, or play 15 years in like Los Angeles or Miami or New York and have like what Blake Griffin did, like make the playoffs every year, early exits, never like a real threat, but lifestyle wise, like you're making a lot of money living in a really cool place during like your like 20s and early 30s.
Damn.
Tough, right?
Anyone who's like an old school basketball fan was
turning that old gun around to your head this time. The other thing pointed at me for damn near 60 minutes last week. You know that it's like that meme with like the old guy at the car. You know that one? Like Josiah posts it all the time. He's like pretending to get hurt. He's like, call the police, but not for me. Like flips the gun around at him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, so great. We should get that guy on the show. But yeah, what do you think?
Oh yeah, old heads are going to hate this answer, but I think I'd go with the second. I think I'd go with Blake Griffin.
I think it's a generational thing too. Like exactly like you said, old heads. Like if you said that to some guy you grew up watching, like Larry Bird or like, those guys in the 70s and 80s, it's like, no, like you stay home, you don't leave, you kill yourself for this team and try and win championships. Yeah, that's great. But I also have a life outside of, these 48 minutes 3 or 4 times a week. So that must weigh on you. And like
this Larry O'Brien isn't going to feed my kids as much as I may try.
Yeah, no kidding. It actually, even like, I think Kevin Love's a really good example too. If you use him, forget I said like Minnesota, say the Cavs won 2 championships instead of 1. That makes a huge difference. Good points. Like you're not even the main guy on the team. Like you have won 2 championships, but it's not like you're a star. Like you're not raking in all these extra endorsements or getting like all this, different stardom and fandom and stuff like that. So yeah, I think obviously it's probably, short-term versus long-term, like hindsight, like at the time, like, yeah, living in LA is sick. But I do think NBA athletes are prideful enough where it's like, it must be a nightmare retiring. Like Charles Barkley's a great example. Like he's one of the greatest players of all time. The first thing everyone thinks of is like he never won a champ. Probably because he works with Shaq. But it's like all he does is get shit on for never winning a championship. So it's like you kind of have to. And it's not like he played in like glamorous places or anything. But like, I'm trying to think of like a real life example, like someone who clearly didn't give a shit about winning championships. I kind of want to say James Harden, but it's not like Houston's like this destination like place to live. I think if like James Harden played Miami his whole career and kept doing what James Harden does and kept coming up short in the playoffs, but still dropped 35 points a game for like 8 seasons, I think he'd be okay with that. Like, I think he could sleep well at night knowing I literally partied my ass off. I'm a great scorer, and I live in Miami Beach.
I think he did, but then something must have flipped a switch this year where he was just like, I'm kind of tired of as much as I like the numbers.
Yeah, good point. I think that narrative might start to get to him. I mean, obviously he's going to Brooklyn to win championships, which I'm sure he has to win at least one if he's there for 3 years. Yeah, 2 or 3 years. He's have to win at least one, maybe this year. If they get lucky, they'll get a first round bye if the Celtics win Tuesday night. And then he'll get like I don't know, he might get one this year. But yeah, I don't know. We can, I don't want to go too much more into it, but I thought it was interesting to at least bring up. You brought a lot of new information to the table that I just quite frankly didn't consider. I just dove right into the numbers, and I think the numbers are similar. Other thing I noticed is Blake Griffin does have a lot more playoff appearances, understandably, but like it's still the Clippers. And like we talked about this last year when the Clippers choked, like I don't think they got past the first or second round too often with that team, with Doc coaching them. So I don't know. We'll see what other people think, but I think it is good to differentiate the question between who's better, who's had a better career, and whose career would you rather have when it's all said and done. Because I think they're probably going to, it looks like I bet they retire around the same time. They'll probably retire in the next, like probably 2 years, 2 or 3 years at the absolute most.
How do we apply to be the people that gives their like Hall of Fame induction? Because I would love to do that. I think that would be great content.
I thought you were going to say who's going to be the one to like formally like fire them from the company. Have you? I think I saw that on like you can hire cameos to like fire people. Have you seen that?
I didn't know.
I don't think it's like Cameo, but it's like a similar service.
Okay.
Where you can hire like a B-list celebrity to fire someone from your company, or maybe it's hire, or may announce you're hired or fired or both. But something
seems to make more sense.
Definitely makes more sense. But I'll look it up later. I'm pretty sure there's a way you can hire a celebrity to fire an employee from you. If not,
hire a celebrity to let someone know that they're being brought in for like a sexual harassment case being investigated.
It's basically like celebrities like serving a subpoena to like someone.
What if you had Matt McConaughey show up to your house and be like, yeah, you're being served.
Yeah, your wife's filing for divorce. I don't know. I'd almost feel better if I had like someone cool break the news to me. It's probably better than my boss or like my HR manager.
Oh yeah.
At least I get to say I met someone cool.
Yeah, you'd have that moment. I'd take a picture with them. Yeah. It might be a little tougher to smile, but
it's like an awkward like selfie, like holding your pink slip with Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know.
Or
something to consider.
The celebrities holding like the cliche cardboard box full of your stuff from the office.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I know we have Whoadie coming on in a little bit, so I don't want to take too much thunder from whatever the hell he wants to talk about. Was there anything else you wanted to get to before we bring Whoadie in?
No, I think
you watched the Dark Side of Football documentary.
I have like 10 minutes left. Did you watch it?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm about the same. Yeah, we can talk to him about that too. But if you haven't seen that, check it out. It is pretty good. It's actually not as good as I thought. It's basically just a Chad Johnson documentary.
Agree. I thought it was going to be like general about wide receivers, and then it was
going to be a little darker.
And then it just went into Chad Johnson like 10 minutes.
It looked like a really nice like ESPN produced Chad Johnson documentary. It really wasn't that dark.
Also, the ads in the middle, like without any sort of announcement, were so awful. Weird.
Literally mid-sentence. Like there's one when Marvin Lewis was mid-sentence, and they went into an ad. I got a targeted ad for, I don't know, like diapers or some shit. And then once the real show came back, it would be an ad for Vice, like another channel on Vice. It was like, because it was Bill Romanowski. Like Bill Romanowski starts talking. And I was like, why the fuck is Bill Romanowski talking about Chad Johnson? Anyway, whatever, I'll pay attention. He stops. And then Marvin Lewis finishes his sentence. And I was like, I don't remember what the hell Marvin Lewis was talking about before 2 minutes of advertisement.
It was a weird experience. Anyway. There were like 3 commercials, I want to say.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was frequent. I also had no idea Chad Johnson played junior college football before he went to Oregon State. I don't know how you miss on someone like that. Also, Chad Johnson was very good.
Yeah.
And I have a feel like this is no disrespect to Chad Johnson, but I think they probably went out with a plan to, all right, let's get the big names. We'll get T.O., we'll get Randy Moss, Odell, Michael Irvin, the real diva wide receivers. And I'm sure they were all like, A, you can't afford my time, and B, I just don't feel like doing this. So it just turned into a Chad Johnson documentary because he's probably kind of all they had. Oh, and TJ Hushmanzada was a big player in that. So
and Vice probably knew. They were like, all right, well, we know there's one guy who's not going to say no to this.
Chad's actually offering to pay us $10,000 to be on the show. So it just came down to simple economics. But now we'll talk to him about that. We got some other stuff. I guess, I don't know. Let's talk about whatever's been trending. And then we'll go from there. So if Whoadie's here, why don't you bring him on?
All right. Here we are. No Dan. Dan had to bounce. As usual, I'm carrying the weight on this show and carrying his weight. But that's what I do. We got a returning guest from episode 70. And now this is actually episode 110. It's crazy.
It's rolling.
Dude, it's just fucking nothing else to do. So we just keep this rolling. But yeah, also it's been a little while. So this is Whoadie from episode 70. Check him out on the Art of Boar podcast. I was just listening to that before we hopped on. Very entertaining. Very, very just a lot of, I don't know, similar to our stuff where we just talk about everything. Like we talk about sports, but there's just a lot of life shit in there too. So yeah, man. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing all right, man. Been chilling, man. Just trying to get it together. I should have another episode of the pod coming up the next couple of days, probably tomorrow. So, just trying to focus on the pod, just trying to stay consistent. As consistent as y'all, man, y'all really roll. I'm just surprised at how quick it was 70 and now we up to this. So yeah, if I can stay as consistent as y'all, I'll be good.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like boredom will lead you to that. You moved recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Congrats on that. You still in Houston?
Yeah, I'm still in Houston. It's just another part of town. Just something closer, a little closer to downtown. That's it. Just I don't like driving, so it's close I can stay to my job. That's good for me.
There you go. Were you well, actually, what's it like to move during like all this shit happening? Like, I assume it's just like it is here, tough to find housing, right? Or no?
No, not really. It's apartments. You'd be surprised. It's apartments going up all the time, every single day in Houston. It's a big population right now, and I guess they're expecting a lot more. So, I mean, it's really not hard to find, especially apartments. The housing, that's a little different, but you can still get, if you want to stay a little further out, you can get a really, all the shit you see on the internet where you get a 5-bedroom and pay cheap prices. I mean, that's legit. And it's not really, you don't really stay too far out the city. I can get a spot in like a park called Humble, Texas. It's right outside of downtown Houston. They only really consider downtown Houston actually Houston. So you can still be in Houston, but it's so big, it'll be a 40-minute ride to work, but I could probably get a 4-bedroom and pay like $1,200, $1,300 for it. Newly built, all that. So it depends on where you want to stay. But, a lot of times when you see they show houses like that, it be in, Willacoochee, it be in just somewhere around North Dakota. You still in Houston, like you still in Houston. So it's still a good, still good. So yeah, it's all good with me.
That's crazy. Would you ever move back you're from New Orleans?
Yeah.
Would you ever move back there?
Not without I need a good incentive to go back.
I got you.
Have good money. But I don't see going back.
Which place gets hotter between the two?
This one, definitely. Yeah. It's the humidity. It's way too humid here. Like you can have a 85-degree day, but you don't get no wind. And it's just humid. So it's gonna probably feel like it's like 98. Yeah, it's not fun. The summer's not fun. We had good weather. I don't know if this thing working. We had good weather probably April last year. We usually have good weather throughout March and April. But yeah, for June, July, it heat up bad, man.
Damn.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
And yet, as soon as they opened up the restrictions, I saw for the Texas Rangers, I think we're the first ballpark to go 100% full capacity. Did I see you at front row of that game? Was that you?
Yeah, they ready to roll, man. They ready to go. The UFC in Houston, it was packed. The Toyota Center is packed in there. 100% packed.
So I'm like on the fringe of being into UFC. I'm starting to like it more and more. I know you're a huge fan, but when was the recent fight? Was that in the last week or two?
That was Saturday, yeah. This past Saturday.
Oh, that one was? Oh, yeah. Shit.
The one they just showed with Oliveira and Chandler, they had the big Chandler knocked him down, almost knocked him out, and then he flipped it and he knocked Chandler on the next round. Yeah, that was him. Damn.
And that was 100% capacity?
Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah, they crazy.
Bro, even if it's not, it looks like it is.
Yeah, I'm just not ready for it. I'm just not. I'm not a crowd type of person either way. So doing it right now, real fresh, nah, it's a no-go for me. And I'm not even, I won't say I'm not worried about it because I've been affected by COVID through my family. But I've always been worried about, passing it, being the asshole that passed it to some old lady or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about that. That's why I've always stayed so careful. I'm not really worried about me. It is what it is as far as me. But yeah, I'm just not comfortable going to fucking 17,000 fans. Jesus Christ. We're not even vaccinated. We're one of the worst vaccinated states in the country. So yeah, it's even worse. It's hilarious.
I was about to ask, are you fully vaxxed? You get the chip or you go with the antenna? What'd you get?
I got number one.
Okay.
I'm going to get number 2, and what's today? So there's I think it's like the 23rd or the 24th. I think that's like next Tuesday.
Okay, so you got that coming up.
Yeah.
Pfizer fan or Moderna mob?
It's Pfizer.
Okay.
I just want to wait till it was easy. I'm not a anti-vax or whatever. I just wanted to, I'm not sitting in no line. I'm not sitting in the car for 3 hours waiting to get a shot in my arm. So I could just walk in there and do it now. Yeah, you just walk in and do it now. So that's cool with me.
Yeah. Man, I drove a fucking hour to get my first one because it was like I was on Ticketmaster when it first got announced I'm in New Hampshire. And as soon as it got announced, I hopped online. I did the registration thing, and I was fucking up the it has you put in your zip code, and then what's the maximum distance you're willing to travel, and I put in just like 50 different zip codes, and chose the max distance because I was like, I'm willing to go wherever to get this out of the way. So I actually got my second one a few weeks back. I never had COVID that I know of. I did feel, brace yourself, because I'm sure you haven't seen this on the internet at all. I did feel like shit for a day after the first one. But yeah, so you never, to your knowledge, you never got it, right?
Nah. I'm super careful. I didn't, I'm not a party animal. I'm in no rush to go to no club or nothing like that. So, I'm still super careful. I had to travel for work, so I had to be even more careful. So, I didn't want to, with all the contract tracing stuff, I didn't want to, I'm already traveling all over Texas. So I didn't want to add any more to that. Like, oh, you've been to this grocery store, you've been to a club, you've been to a bar. Why are you at the bar? It's just too much stuff. So I didn't want to deal with all that. I just want to worry about staying safe. And, I had bacterial pneumonia probably like 3 years ago. And I'm gonna tell you what, it was pretty fucking rough. And it was really bad. And I don't really fear nothing after that, but I still want to be careful as far as, giving it to somebody else. Like I said, that's what I always been waiting for. I mean, that's what I've been worried about, but I know there's things worse than what I went through already. but I kind of don't like anything less than that. It don't matter to me, to be honest. So that's why I wasn't worried about it as far as myself. It's a real stupid machismo thing, but that's just how I am.
No, I 100% agree, because I had that as a kid. I had it when I can remember it pretty vividly. In like 6th grade, I had bacterial pneumonia too. And it just knocked you out, right? Like I remember being exhausted, being exhausted like from a fatigue and sleepiness standpoint, but also from a being able to breathe. Like everything felt like I was just walking uphill for like 10 hours straight.
This cat is going crazy. Mine was worse than that. I had it for about a month. I was out of work for about a month. So I probably lost like 40 something pounds. Well, no, probably like, I think 35 pounds. And I lost some lung capacity. It was pretty, it's crazy because
shit,
I don't get sick. Like I haven't had I don't get colds. Like I haven't had a cold since. And I didn't get sick before. So it was kind of a surprise to me being sick, but it also felt like a year's worth of, me not being sick. They're like, okay, you're going to get one. But I haven't been really sick since then. So, I don't really worry about myself as far as my own immune system. I'll be honest, it's been pretty vibranium my whole life. Besides that one incident, it's been pretty tough. It's been tough this whole time. Like I don't get colds. I don't really get none of that. I'm gonna get, a cold for the next 2 months. Now that I'm saying it, but that it fucked me up. Like just mentally, just going through that, being hot, being cold every day, and when I hear all the stuff about people with COVID, I can kind of understand it, because when I had a pneumonia, it was the worst, dude. It was the worst. It's easily the worst thing anybody should encounter. It was pretty bad, but nothing really bothered me after that, to be honest. I don't.
So you never get colds. You don't get nagging injuries. You just might blow an ACL every once in a while, but that's about it.
It's gonna be like I don't have any nagging injuries, all the crazy shit I done, but there's gonna be one day I'm gonna just fucking just lose all 4 limbs like the dude from Family Guy. I'll be fucking just wood coming out of my elbows and fucking knees and shit. But like I said, I've been pretty tough for pretty much my whole life. So but I wanted to be really careful with COVID just because it affects so many older people, and I work around people, a lot of 40, 50 plus people. So I didn't want to mess nobody up.
Yeah, for sure. How safe would things have to be for you to go to the next Travis Scott concert?
Well, you would never see me at a Travis Scott concert. But I'm not a concert person in general, but back to the ball is good. I'll probably be at a ball in the next week or two, to be honest. It's kind of all good at this point. Like what I'm gonna do, I can't hide anymore. Everybody else is treating it like it's over. I have a real, my cousin says, a primitive mindset as far as the mask thing. I don't mind wearing a mask at all. It's not an inconvenience to me at all. It hasn't been at all. But if I'm in a place where nobody's wearing one, I'm not going to wear one. We're just going to have to, it's just going to be some flying spit everywhere. But if I'm in a place with professionals and we wearing one, I have no problem wearing one at all. But, I'm not going to be the only asshole that's trying to protect everybody, but nobody's protecting me. So I'm going to just have to, see who got the best immune system from there. But that's how life is.
It sounds like you do. So we should be good.
So that's why I'm not worried about it. Yeah. So, yes.
Did you see, this wasn't something I wrote down, but did you see a few months ago where will.i.am came out with like a like a battery powered mask? He turned it into something that was, of course, it's fucking will.i.am, respect the guy's music. He is a little weird, but he had this, you would think it was something made by fucking Samsung Galaxy that was like to connect to your phone, but it was a mask that just completely attached to your face. It was $300. It fucking lit up like something from the future.
What did you do? Do I get extra Does it give me an extra breath? Like what is
I think
does it filter in fresh oxygen? Like what does it do? Or is it just a LED $300 mask?
I think it was mostly the expensive part. I want to say that it gave you headphones too.
Oh, all right. Yeah, Will I am out his goddamn mind. 300? Like I got like 900 masks in my car right now. I'll be honest. Like it's a shit ton. I'll never run through all the masks I have. So a $300 one, yeah, Will I am is crazy.
Yeah, he was. I don't know what planet he's living on where he thinks that what we need is better masks. We don't want masks, you fuck. we don't want to be in a position where we need them.
Yeah, rich people live on a different planet anyway. Like the fact that they can like try to be or pretend to be normal, it's just stupid. If you've been rich for like 20 years, you haven't lived anything close to a normal life in a real long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always weird, but yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I'll DM. Actually, let me send it to you right now. I want you to see what this looks like.
$300 mask.
He looks ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm like, this is so fitting for this dude. Do you go with the bulk? Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Like I'm not even a Black Eyed Peas fan. Like I remember him being in the media probably a couple months ago, and he was talking about people like not appreciating them for being like a black group or something like that. You remember he was in the media pretty recently. Like I've never seen him as I've seen him as a very popular pop group.
Yeah.
But I don't know about like what they were before the addition of Fergie versus what they are after. I don't know their music enough to be able to tell is there a difference. Like were they hip hop before and now were they pop when they added Fergie?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. I've wondered that thing myself for a while too, because I was like, I don't really remember will.i.am before the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, actually, I can remember seeing him, and I feel like he didn't become the eccentric. Like will.i.am pre Black Eyed Peas would have never made this fucking mask. Yeah, I'll say that much.
He's like a pop version of Wyclef, where he's very eccentric. Wyclef, of course, this motherfucker was in his Speedos on a motorbike. He's incredibly like out of his mind. But usually when you're a genius like that, when you're rich, you got to be kind of out of your mind to become that rich. But I guess
we certainly do, Whoadie. You and I certainly do.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. This dude's on a Speedo and a motorbike. This dude's worth like $90 million. That doesn't make any sense. Wyclef is.
I actually don't remember that. I'm glad I don't, but I don't remember that.
I remember he was on Twitter and like I guess it was his birthday and he had like a Haitian flag Speedo on, and on a motorbike in the middle in the front of his house. It's hilarious. You don't want to see it. Don't worry about it. It's just in my brain, so I have no choice but to live with it.
He was just trying to get the word out.
Yeah, that's a terrible word to get out.
Stand up for Haiti one time.
Yeah, in a Speedo, it's disgusting.
Getting into hoops. Let's see. Where should I start? Let's start close to home.
With that jersey behind you. Who's that right there? What jersey is that? Who jersey is that for?
That's Marietta, Georgia's finest. That's Jaylen Brown.
Okay, so you do know that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is supposed to be living in New Orleans, Louisiana right now.
I was going to ask you about that tweet. Let's get into it.
You want? So we all know both of them was gone. AD was a Celtic. He was pretty much a Celtic. And then AD's pops came out and totally just there's been no fine, there's been no penalty. There's been no nothing. Just some people that can ruin a trade, and then we just all move on. Like cat's going crazy. We just all moved on. like nothing even matter. So this is very, very confusing. Let me know what you think from a Celtic. Y'all could have AD right now.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer that. And we have a lot of, of the people who listen to, most of them are Celtics fans that listen to us. They're going to hate me for saying it, but yeah, obviously I would prefer AD. Big guy like that doesn't come around too often. But obviously I get why, Danny Ainge wouldn't want to do the trade. And then who is it? David Griffin? Is that who's running the Pelicans?
Unfortunately, yes, that's who's the GM. But this is before David Griffin. No, this was before David Griffin. This was in the mid-season, the year before we got David Griffin. So this is a done deal. He was supposed to be a Celtic.
Yeah, I would trade Jaylen Brown and JT for Anthony Davis.
We had both of them. At least one. We at least had Tatum. But if we had Jaylen Brown, then we had Tatum. They wouldn't, we wouldn't just get Jaylen Brown. It would have been Tatum by itself, or just Tatum in a package or whatever it was. But when I see how easy it is for Tatum to just put up buckets, it's pretty crazy. Then you look at the end of the season, his rebounds went up. Like he's getting 7 to 11 rebounds within the last maybe 25 games. So, he was, for a young cat like that, man, to me, he a beast.
He is. Both of those guys, I don't know if I'd say I feel bad for them, but they're getting worked to death because they got most of the workload on the team. Because I would feel bad if you said that you've watched a lot of Celtics games this year, because they finished the season at 500.
They actually have.
Then you've seen the supporting cast isn't exactly the belle of the ball.
Kimba's been up and down. He had a good stretch. Mm-hmm. But then at the beginning of the season, I don't know, like the first 35 games, it was no Kimba, basically.
Yeah, I just don't think that they did a good job of surrounding their stars. They need shooters, because right now, I think those two guys just aren't like great distributors yet. That they can be, but they're not there yet. And they're young guys. They're only 3 and 4 years, 4 and 5 years, one of those in the league, respectively. But right now, like, they need shooters. They either need shooters to make their jobs easier, or they need a distributor to free them up from ball handling and, I don't know, get them some easy buckets. But those guys got to go one-on-one pretty much all the time to get their buckets, and they're good at it. But yeah, I mean,
at some point, I guess Danny Ainge will stop going for a scoring point guard. Like, how many times do we, this is the third one and it's just not working. So, you might want to get a distributor. You had Isaiah. It kind of worked, but working as far as a championship, So you had Isaiah, you had Kyrie. You're doing Kimba right now. I think, Jaylen Brown is hurt, so that throws everything out. I was about to say, with them three, if they're all playing at a high pace, with the defense from Marcus Smart, maybe they can figure something out. But I forgot Jalen is gone, so yeah, it's just another playoff year, I guess.
Yeah, tough scene. So what I'm hearing is that you're thinking about being a Celtics fan?
No, not at all. Not one bit. Unfortunately for me, I'm a degenerate gambler, so I watched a lot of games. I've seen 40 Detroit games. That's the level. That's the sewer level I'm on right now.
I'm reporting your Twitter account.
You should. I'm really in hell right now. I've seen most of the Orlando, Detroit.
This is criminal activity.
This is crazy. I like Jeremy Grant, man. He's playing pretty good at the beginning of the season. I like Sadiq Bey. I like Killian Hayes. I just like their young players. I like Josh Jackson. I like their young players. Which none of them have to do with, I don't think Stan Van Gundy had to do with any of them. But they got some good young players.
So do you follow Pistons Twitter much at all?
No, I don't.
I was just curious how they've reacted to Blake going to Brooklyn, and now he regained his 44-inch vertical.
It should be a blessing, because he can dunk the ball, but that one good assist is probably the only assist he had last night. So I'm just not sure what he's going to contribute to contribute to the Nets like that. I mean, I don't know. It's just something off with him. He's not really hitting jumpers like that. Well, he's never hit jumpers like that, but he hasn't developed that game. Because I think obviously something is up with his legs. He's not the same guy. I don't think he's completely washed, but I don't think he was completely tanking it like I thought he was either. Like I think he might just be trash. He might be kind of trash, but not all the way trash.
I agree. He's trending towards trash.
Yeah,
because he was putting up numbers for the Pistons. Like me and Dan were talking about this earlier, but it's easy to put up numbers when you're the main guy on a bad team. And
when the second best player is Luke Kennard, then okay, all right, of course, you're gonna get some buckets.
Yeah, I don't know. Blake Griffin's lucky that he plays in the era that he does, because he definitely would have been one of those guys who, if he played in the 90s or early 2000s, he just would have kept putting up numbers until he started to fade away, but like would have stayed with the same team the whole time, because they're like, well, like look at all the shit that he's done for us and whatever. Like I feel like he would have been one of those guys that would have been stuck on the same team forever 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, he was done dirty. Excuse me, he was done dirty. As dirty as you can get. The Clippers did him when they walked him through when they re-signed him. Remember the story where they said they walked him through the arena? They had his jersey hanging from the Raptors and shit, like a retirement jersey, and then you trade him. Like that's pretty sick. Like that's pretty sick. It's pretty fucked up, to be honest. But I mean, he a millionaire. He a multi-millionaire. So, I like to think about NBA and all that shit as just sports.
Yeah.
But I mean, in reality, Blake Griffin can be washed all he wants. I think he's doing all right. So you can feel bad for how he was treated, but I mean, they gave him like $100 million to treat him bad. So I've been treated worse for less.
I let people treat me bad for free. So
for free, he got like $130 million to get traded to Detroit. Boo-hoo. When you're rich, everything is fire anyway, so it don't even matter, where you go. I could be in Nova Scotia. If I'm worth $100 million, everything is real fun.
Agreed.
Because I'll just buy Nova Scotia.
I'll start a team there. Fuck it.
It's the easiest thing to do, yeah.
This is completely unrelated, but I have to ask you because I think this is a funny topic. Did you by chance see that tweet that went viral a couple weeks ago? Guy and a girl at a baseball game, the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball game, and it was a female reporter who tweeted it. Picture came up. So this couple was on a date at the Diamondbacks game. The girl was wearing ripped jeans with a tank top. The guy was wearing a T-shirt with athletic shorts. And the reporter that tweeted it.
Oh, yeah.
You saw this?
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
Without giving away my side, where do you stand on that whole thing in terms of, you think that guy was getting shit when he didn't need to, or do you think the reporter that tweeted it had a point?
I think he's dressed way too fucking comfortable to like be out in public. All right, it's not the shorts, right? It's the fabric of the shorts. This dude has like lace fabric. This shorts you go to sleep in. You don't wear those shorts to the baseball game. Like just throw some fucking jeans on, throw some, some regular shorts on. You don't have to wear, I just cleaned the fucking garage, or I'm mowing the lawn. I just mowed the lawn, I'm taking a shower. These are the shorts I wear. Those are inside shorts. So he was dressed a little bummy. But she looked comfortable with that. So all right, that's good for them. I mean, he looked pretty terrible though. In
all
public.
Right. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty much on board with that. I just thought it was like, damn, you guys are gonna just roast this guy when it looks like, I mean, if anything, like they would have had almost a mutual understanding that, number one, we're in Arizona, so it is hot as balls.
Yeah, it's hot.
I mean, I'd never been there, but I'm sure it's an indoor stadium too. And then number two, I'm sure if she was fine with it, then whatever. That's their thing.
Yes.
But it was just
I mean,
hilarious that it went so viral.
I think it was probably a lot of women. I don't remember the picture, but I assume the chick was somewhat attractive. So when you have a chick that's dressed attractive or looked attractive, and then you look like you just grabbed the fucking Coors Light out the fridge, and you about to go watch it, like you watching baseball at home. That's how you dress when you watch baseball at home. So maybe he's comfortable that way. John Goodman and Roseanne always had a flannel shirt. Nobody never said nothing to him. So, that's whatever he's comfortable in is what you're comfortable in. Blade wore leather. He had a leather jacket all the time and leather pants.
Yeah, everyone's got a style. So
They got a style.
Fair enough.
Russell shouldn't be the style in public, though. Kmart Russell shorts is. He should have put some better pants on.
Hey, those are and one. Come on. Which Zion Knicks jersey are you getting first, home or away?
Almost swipe the whole phone, clean off the thing right here. I doubt Zion actually goes to the Knicks because the Knicks' success is 100% just on Tom Thibodeau. It's on Tom Thibodeau and then on Julius Randle. But it's not a culture. It's just 1 year of the New York Knicks going to playoffs in one of the worst conferences in the history of sports. But they are a good team. I won't shit on them. I don't want to shit on the Knicks right now. They are a good team. But I don't see Zion going at it. But Thibodeau's teams are always like that. They play hard. The only team that really wasn't like that was the Timberwolves. I mean, he was there like 2-3 years, right?
He was, but also he had the one man fucking torpedo of Jimmy Butler kind of fucking things up.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that's Thibodeau's MO. All his cats play hard and he make it play defense, and then the top probably like 9 or 10 in the rotation, they play all the minutes. So you really get to know how to fucking play when you playing all the minutes. I think Julius Randle probably played every game this
year. Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's crazy that a fucking New York Knick is legitimately in the MVP conversation. He's not going to get it, but he's on the fringe, like whatever, the 10th guy in that conversation.
I'll say you're top 5 for MVP.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that.
And Thibodeau would be coach of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what about what's the cat from the Nuggets, Malone?
Yep. I was gonna say Quinn Snyder, but he's won it before for the Jazz.
Yeah. He's won it before, but I don't know about giving it to the Jazz. The Jazz, they got their ass beat in the playoffs. It's like 4 years straight.
Yeah.
But then they got swept. That team that swept them is not around anymore with the Houston Rockets. But I still don't trust him. I don't know where Mitchell's been out for like 2 months, they feel like. So I'm not sure how healthy he's going to be for the playoffs. Monty Williams also. I forgot about Monty Williams.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a coach of the year?
Has he ever been a coach of the year? Is that what you said?
No, have there ever been a coach of the year where 2 people win it?
Oh, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
So, because just as good as Thibodeau is, I mean, the Suns are like the number 1 seed in the West. The Suns haven't been number 1 in the West probably in like fucking 15 years. It's been a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Since Barkley has to have been the last time. I'll
say maybe one of the Nash years. I'm not sure. I haven't looked up the record. At least one of the Nash years, maybe.
Yeah. I want to say that the first like 1 or 2 years that Nash was there, and yeah.
But they still played in the era with the Spurs and the Lakers, so I'm not sure who was the number 1 seed back then. It could have been any one of those 3 being the number 1 seed, but I kind of see Phoenix as probably being the number 1 seed in that area because I know the Lakers didn't even care about the regular season. They care more about the playoffs, but But either way, I think Monty Williams should be up there too. He could be first. I mean, the thing with the bubble with the Knicks, they won all their bubble games, but they were still trash. Like they was one of the worst seasons in the NBA. But they just so happened to win all their bubble games. And if you think, I don't think the Suns has been in the playoffs in like a long time. I don't know when the last time they've been in the playoffs even.
I would say the end of the Nash era.
That's a long fucking time, man. Okay, and it's been should be about the same for the Knicks too. Whenever the Melo era was 2011 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say that the year that they beat us, like the last year of the Big Three, so that was the 12-13 season. Either that was their last, or they made like one more. But yeah, anything to take the credit away from Chris Paul, I'm with. I just can't get behind him.
No, he's a nut punch. I can't do the nut punching thing. You can't punch somebody in the nuts, man. Come on, man. Like, and he did it like 3 times. Like, you can't punch somebody in the nuts 3 different times. That's a little wrong. Like, you might, if you're gonna do that, you just fight him. Just punch him in the face.
That's 6 total nuts.
That's 6 scrotums. It's pretty bad. Yeah. Did it in college, and then Chris Kaman, I don't know if you remember the Chris Kaman thing. He grabbed Chris Kaman nuts from the back. That's even worse. From the back, yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, he gave him the TSA.
Yo, he swiped this shit. Chris Kaman, Chris Paul. He was getting a rebound, and he just grabbed him from the back, like he like a German Shepherd. The vet checking the German Shepherd. He literally grabbed his nuts through the shorts. And those were big shorts back then. You know, it's like 2000s. So the fabric is big as shit. So you have to really dig in the shorts to really get to that.
You got to find them.
Even more disgusting. Yeah, I can't get behind that.
He told Chris Kaman to turn and cough.
He's not a good person. You can't be a good person if you do stuff like that, man.
Yo, that's funny because was it Blake that did it to Serge Ibaka, or was it the other way around? But there was some nut punching in when the Thunder and the Clippers played in the playoffs a couple times. And so those two had a beef.
It was, I don't remember, but Blake Griffin, right? So I don't know if anybody else is like a YouTube all-star like me, right? I've seen every dirty Blake Griffin move. Blake Griffin is, like, when he first came in, they used to mess with him because he had red hair and he light skinned. So a lot of people used to mess with him, give him bad fouls, give him hall fouls, and he was dunking on a lot of people. He's embarrassing people.
Yep.
Somewhere along that line, Blake Griffin started doing a lot of dirty stuff. Like, if you just look up Blake Griffin fights, you'll see him doing just sideways dirty shit, clipping people, chopping people, coming down and smacking people on their head and shit. He had the thing last year with against Thomas Bryant. Remember when the guy pushed him, he started laughing at him? I think that was this year.
Yeah. Against the Wizards?
Yeah, against the Wizards, yeah. Because he did something dirty to him, and Thomas Bryant, who didn't want to fight. It was obvious you didn't want to fight, but you got to respond back. But he responded back in just the worst way possible, with a very, very light diet push, which made Blake Griffin laugh at him. But yeah, Blake Griffin, he's a dirty player. He's pretty dirty. Not recently, but those Clippers days, I think he was like getting back at people. He's doing a lot of foul shit too.
I feel like he was learning it from Chris Paul too.
I think he definitely was learning from Chris Paul.
Hilarious that those teams, like, no matter, they could start the season fucking 18-2, and you could just be like, yeah, they'll be bouncing the second round at worst. That team was like never to be taken seriously. But you just being like a Blake Griffin fan, or a YouTube enthusiast, I'm the same way with basketball highlights. Is there anything more unnecessary than how Blake Griffin used to go between the legs before he'd start like a post-up move? Bro, he'd catch it at like the free throw line extended, and for some stupid ass reason, he'd always go into it between the legs, and then eventually like start to back this guy down into the post.
And this was the thing. I think that's probably why the Clippers may have just traded him.
They're tired of that
like
one move.
Well, tired of that one move is because it didn't look like he could get his own shot. It just felt like Chris Paul, I don't know if he didn't get a chance to develop that with Chris Paul always having a ball, or maybe he just was just an off the ball, Stoudemire type of guy where he just needs that point guard. In his prime, he probably should be paired with Harden a long time ago instead of now. But if anybody, him and Harden should be great together because I think Harden is just amazing, to be honest with you.
How did you feel about that whole situation, by the way? I can't remember if we talked about this, but how'd you feel about Harden leaving Houston and how that went down?
I mean, I wasn't surprised that he was leaving. I figured they would have tried to trade him before the season started. I mean, what else you want him to do? I mean, he's been there 2011, so 10 years. They get bounced by the same team 5-6 years straight. It just so happened they gave up on Chris Paul the year where they probably could have beat Golden State. Well, no, they did play Golden State, and they lost.
Yeah, when CP3 was injured in Game 7, wasn't he?
Yeah, they lost. KD was hurt, and I think Clay got hurt, and they still lost that. They lost to just Steph.
Yep. Was that the series where they missed 27 in a row?
Yeah, that's the series. Was that the year before? No, that's the year before.
That was the year before. Okay.
Before that, yeah. So they lost. That's the second one is even worse than that because it was no KD and there was no Clay. It was just Steph. Kevin Looney, Draymond, and who knows?
Sean Livingston.
Sean Livingston. I mean, yeah, just throw anybody in there. We don't even know who's playing. That's why I never gave Steph any slander over the last couple of years. Like I said, degenerate gambler. I've been seeing those rosters, though, like Jordan Poole and Eric Pascal and Michael Mulder. Like these dudes are not starting five guys. That's who's playing with Steph. So it's just crazy.
I noticed you left out Nicolo Mannion.
Pardon? Who the hell is that? Who the hell is that guy?
He's the redheaded dude on the Warriors, isn't he? Nico Mannion?
I have no idea who that is. I know that is.
We'll never know.
ION or something like that. I know you're talking about. But that's the type of cast that's playing. You know what I'm saying? Like what you want Steph to do, dog. Like no disrespect those casts. They do play hard. Juan Toscano Anderson, they play hard. But I mean, you go from vet players, like you can have the same type of players play the same role, but those first years they had veteran players. Like Andre Iguodala knew what his role was versus Juan Toscano Anderson. He's just getting in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like who they had the first year? They had Barbosa, they had Bogut, they had Spates, they had Sean Livingston. Like they had Barbosa's been around for a while. He was around he was in the Suns days.
Yeah, he was always nice.
He was always nice. He know the offense because Steve Kerr's running the same type of shit. He wants to say Bogut, veteran, and even when they took Bogut out, they had Pachulia. They won with Pachulia.
Yeah,
with Zaza. They almost won with Varejao. Like I mean, Jesus Christ. As center, Varejao was the center, and the 16 year. Yeah, the 16 year, I believe that was 16 year. Festus Ezeli, like these are not, that's why I never counted the Warriors as a super team. They drafted those three dudes, and then the other dudes are just veterans who stepped up their game. Sean Livingston's a vet who stepped up his game. I never considered them a super team. They was just busting everybody ass. That's different.
I'm excited for this week. I'm not optimistic. What do you think is going to happen in the Golden State Lakers game?
I think we're probably going to get bionic LeBron.
Yep.
Because he knows that AD is probably not healthy, so he's going to have to go all out.
Probably going to play some defense.
And LeBron that goes all out is just he's a better player than Steph when he goes all out. Just because he can do more, he's bigger defensively. He can do more. If I don't see him going that far out, but I don't see them losing because didn't he call a chip? Right? He called them winning the championship this year. He tweeted this shit.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he said he's bringing the championship back to LA. Like he called it. He tweeted that shit like a couple of days ago. So, if you call it. If LeBron calls it, I think he's coming with that funk, and he's been out for a couple months, so you never know. I think he could have tweaked his ankle the other day, though. I think last night he could have tweaked his ankle, so I'm not sure how the injuries treat him, though.
Are you a Bron fan or a respecter? Which one are you closer to being?
A respecter. It's more of a respect thing. I'm not a huge. It's definitely not any of the accolades. Whatever I wasn't a huge fan of is just personal fandom, stupid stuff. But he's more than earned anybody's respect when it comes to basketball. That's not a question at all. He earned that shit like 10 years ago. Everything else is with extra credit.
I'm the same. Obviously, just being from like the Boston area. Like they had a couple good series against him, but like the thing that I don't look forward to is he's already painted the narrative himself.
Yeah.
Because like he does this shit every year where he does the, I'm shutting off my social media, 0 dark 30-23. This year, I just saw a post today that said LeBron just entered something like the top whatever in scoring. And he then retweeted it and said, wow. So I'm never mentioned with the greats in scoring, huh? Only for that other shit. He calls himself the washed king. No one fucking called him that besides himself. So
nobody called him.
LeBron like his social media reminds me of like when we were in high school and just dramatic people making up shit. Like can't wait to see all my haters today. Some dumb shit like that.
Well, LeBron gets to control his narrative. He gets to control it because he has people in the media that is signed to his company. He has people in the media that give him obvious favor.
Windhorst.
Windhorst is you got Windhorst, you got Jay Williams, who was exposed earlier today, but he's always been like that. You got Rachel Nichols, who's always been like that. And I mean, the entire ESPN has really always been like that. I call them ESPN stats. Whenever they say, oh, somebody averaged 23-7 in the last 13 games. Like, who cares? Those are ESPN stats. Who cares? Who makes that up? But
like you pick those parameters.
Yeah, who picked that shit? But they've made up shit like that specifically for LeBron. And then it just kind of fell down to everybody else. But he gets to control the narrative. I mean, that's just what it is. He gets to control the narrative. He gets to trade players. He gets to move players. He gets to sign players. He gets to hold teams hostages. I mean, it's kind of what it is. I don't have he's earned my respect on the court. And the power moves he's made, I mean, how could you not respect just strongholding everybody?
The moral of the story is as much as I might dislike it or whatever, I'd do the same fucking thing if I was in his position.
Absolutely.
I can't blame him. But
100%.
I just hate that the media gets to like paint one side of the story, and it's always going to be pro LeBron, but whatever. We're going on.
Yeah, it's always going to be pro LeBron.
Year 18. I should know what it is because at this point he reminds us every time he gets on fucking Instagram. We're coming up on time, so we're going to get you out of here on some rapid fire stuff here.
All right, cool.
You can give me an explanation too, but not too much thought I don't think will be needed for a couple quick questions here.
All right.
First one. Flats or drums?
Drums. I need the grip. I need that grip right. I like the wings, but I need that grip on the wings, man. I just need it. The flats is too sloppy for me. You gotta bite into it. You gotta dig into it. It gets too, it messes you up too much.
I think that there's more skin on a flat though, and the skin's awesome.
Skin is, yeah, that's true.
And I think
it's just a little sloppier though, man. Especially if you got some barbecue wings. The
yeah,
way you got a hole is different. When you bite into it, you gotta really like smash your lips into it to get a good bite off. Like it's a little different.
yeah. All right, fair enough. Cold pizza or cold pasta?
Pasta. I don't like cold pizza at all.
Wow, this is the first time I've asked anyone this, and I definitely thought you were going to say cold pizza. All right. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Okay. I put this up on my Instagram earlier. Walter White, good guy or bad guy?
Bad guy. So fucking meth. So,
But you had to think about it.
gamma radio. Well, I had to think about it because I mean, if you get all into it, we have a shitty healthcare system. So if a dude has to turn to selling meth to pay for his shit, then to me he's kind of in the middle. But I'll go bad guy because he wasn't selling weed. Meth is like Incredible Hulk drug. He's selling fucking gamma rays. That's a little different.
You said our health system was bad and he had to turn to selling drugs. All I heard you say was something about land of milk and honey. So I don't know what you're talking about.
This had to sell crystal meth to pay for cancer treatments. Jesus Christ, nobody can help with cancer treatments.
The American dream.
Meth?
I hear it.
Yeah. Jeez.
Who's more deserving of their Hall of Fame? Julian Edelman or Robert Horry?
A Julian Edelman.
Thank you.
Mostly because of time played. Horry was you would say he was a specialist, right? Like he played good. I think his defense is underrated. He played really good defense in Houston. He had big shots in Houston. He played good defense either way. But
one of the first stretch fours too. Now I think about
it. Yes, and we talking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's hit some of the best and biggest shots ever. Not just final stuff, playoff shit, like just. But Edelman, it's time played. He was a starting receiver. He put in the work. And you have to go Edelman. I would say you have to go Edelman. But I would say he's worthy. I don't know if is he in the Hall of Fame?
He's not, but Rudy Tomjanovich was talking about it because he got inducted over the weekend, the Rockets coach, and he was saying that he thought Horry should be in it. Dan and I brought this up a couple of days ago just by chance because people were comparing Edelman to Horry, and I just think Edelman's track record and like Horry's hit so many big shots.
Yes.
But the way that you think about it is almost like these singular individual moments as opposed to Edelman had great games in the playoffs where he was just like he was moving the chains for a lot of those years. Gronk gets a lot of the credit.
How many Super Bowls did Edelman get with the Patriots?
He got 3, and he got the Super Bowl MVP in the last one. Okay. The terrible game that was 13-3, but he had like 10 catches for over 100 yards.
All you just need to say was 3. The 3 put it more because the 3 in the NFL, fucking Brady. This motherfucking Brady, man. Yo, Brady is 7, right? Yes, 7. Or is it 8?
He's an evil dude. Yeah, 7.
He's 7. And what I didn't know when he pulled off, I didn't even realize it was the first person to win it at home because they won it in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. I don't want to talk about Brady.
I'm a Patriots fan, and a smile is still coming across my face for anyone that's just listening to this. Last 2. First one is who you rooting for after the Pelicans get knocked out? Do you have any rooting interest in the remaining teams?
I don't even have any rooting interest in the Pelicans, to be honest. I watch more Detroit Pistons games than Pelicans games, to be 100%. I didn't watch any Pelicans games. I didn't watch any. I didn't watch one.
And when I send this to the Pistons social media account, they better like get you on the first flight out to Little Caesars Palace next year.
Hey man, I like Sadiq Bey, man. I like Killian Hayes, I like Jeremy Grant. I like Isaiah Stewart, I think is his center. They got some good young players, man. That's good young players.
They got a good home crowd when they're good too, like the Billups, Rasheed, and Ben Wallace days. So I like when the Pistons are good. Last one, music only. I mean, their art only. You can't take into account their personal lives. MJ or Prince?
I'll go MJ.
All right.
MJ is that dude. Rock with me. MJ just got too many hits. It's just too many. I love Prince. Raspberry Ray, come on right now. I'm gonna tell you what right now. We're gonna let it sing right now. Raspberry Ray, come on right now. Anytime Raspberry Beret come on, I'm on it. I'm a real old school cat. I listen to all old school music. I listen to our parents' music more than our music. I listen to Al Green, and I listen to that shit all day. So, but MJ just got too many, and it's over too long. Like, Jackson 5, dude, is like civil rights, and you give me butterflies, it's Rush Hour 2. Like, that's a long time. That's a long fucking time. You know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
the only one to bookend his career with those two things, the civil rights and Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour 2 and civil rights, yeah, they blend together perfectly.
Yeah, I'm a huge MJ stan. I won't even call it a fan. I'm a stan, but I admit I know like Prince. I think he's like musically more talented just because he can play all the instruments and all that. But I think MJ is the better, the fuller package with like the dancing, the videos.
It's just the songs too. I mean, when you make songs over the span of 50 years, and most of them are not most of them. Well, it's hard to say all because all wasn't, but he's as close to all as you can possibly get. So it feels disrespectful to even say most.
Yeah, I want to say that the Bad album was the first one to have 7 #1 hits, which is an absurd number.
It's just too good. The music too good. The only person I can think of is like Stevie Wonder. So I think Stevie Wonder is on the same. He has the same career. They span the same. But Stevie Wonder might be. Well, obviously MJ passed like 10 years ago. So Stevie Wonder's music is still going, but Stevie Wonder was out before him. I think he could have been late 50s.
I think you're right because I can still picture Stevie Wonder before he went with like the braids.
When he had the fro.
Yeah.
He was like 16 with the harmonica, the fro, the glasses, all black and white. That was like the 50s, dude. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And then you go from those songs then to all the songs in between that's played at every wedding for the last 30, 40 years. I know I think they would be my favorite 2 artists. If you told me them 2, I wouldn't know how to pick. But Prince and MJ, definitely MJ.
Could you imagine, just to like take that example a little further, can you imagine 30, 40 years from now if we're hearing Future at every wedding? Like, I can't picture that.
We're not gonna be. This is gonna be the lost era. We may get some Bruno Mars or something that go past that lasts, another 20 years. But
some Katy Perry,
these little, let's check Lady Gaga. You may get some of those songs that keep going because they like pop, and a lot of 80s songs still go. Like Madonna and all that shit can still roll. So those songs will last, but I don't think a lot of the hip hop and rap songs will last. I mean, Al Green was. Every time I hear Al Green, it feels like the first time. And my mom wasn't even alive when Al Green first came out. So you can think about that type of music. You know what I'm saying? It's something that lasts 50 years. It's, I don't think we'll be saying the same for a lot of rap.
You don't see September by Earth, Wind, and Fire being followed up by fucking Mask Off?
I don't think My Apprentice, not My Apprentice, my, God damn it. I'm thinking Apprentice. What's the song off the Hendrix thing? It's My Collection. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't think My Collection and Lean on Me or whatever fucking song or classic song. I don't think those will be passed on. But I mean, to still think we still listen to these songs. MJ song come on right now from like 1984, and everybody in the room is gonna bop their head. You can look around the room and people gonna react to it. So yeah, it's just a different type of feel.
Agreed. He's the king of pop. All right, my guy. I appreciate you coming on. I said 45 minutes and I lied because we went an hour. So you can send the invoice in the mail. You know how to hit me up. Also, you got to look up. I don't know if you ever seen this video, but Shaq on Inside the NBA says that he thinks Stevie Wonder is not blind and that's a hoax.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. He's not. He can see, like, he's technically blind. He's disabled, but I think he's like super. I don't know if it's near or far sighted. He can see all the way up close to him. So I mean, if you're 7'3", 320 pounds, if anybody can see, they can see your big ass. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why he saw Shaq. He probably felt him. As soon as you're blind, you can feel. He probably felt somebody gigantic next to him in the elevator.
That's true. Shaq probably stepped in and Stevie Wonder was like, well, I know we're not at the zoo and that's not an elephant, so that must be Shaq.
He felt that foot hit the elevator and the shit shook. He's like, yeah, that's not a fucking silverback. It just has to be Shaq. It's not a mountainous gorilla. It's just Shaq. So yeah, I would have recognized him too. Fucking Daredevil would have recognized him.
Well, thanks again, my friend. Can you remind the people where to find you online and find your show?
Go check me out. I'm on everything. I guess I'm on everything. Audible podcast. Check me out on Twitter at Dusty Whoads. EA can't get me out of here. EA, you're still a terrible company. I'm still coming for you.
I can't believe that happened.
Why you getting sued right now? I didn't even curse. I could have cursed him out. I didn't even curse. I just reported a tweet that didn't even have a curse word in it, which is fine. Yeah, I'm coming for you. But check me out, Dusty Whoads on Twitter. You
still twitching or no?
Yes. Oh yeah. Check me on Twitch at Whoadie. I was on Apex Legends a little bit yesterday. So twitch.com/Whoadie. Check me out on there.
Perfect. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming through. We will have to do this again. Enjoyed it as always.
We'll talk about that wide receiver doc next time. I watched a little bit of it. The one you sent me.
Oh yeah.
On Vice. We discuss that next time too.
It turned into a Chad Johnson biography, but yeah. We'll discuss that.
That's why I cut it off. Yeah.
All right, my guy. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Yes, sir.
Be good.